All right, good morning, everybody. We are going to get started with our media availabilities here at Phoenix Raceway in advance of Sunday's Fan Shield 500. We are joined by Tyler Reddick, driver of the number 8 I Am Second Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing. Tyler is currently our Sunoco rookie points leader, making his Cup debut at Phoenix this weekend, but has had some success here in the Xfinity Series, finishing third the last 2 times he was here with the NASCAR Xfinity Series. So we will open it up to questions. Please raise your hand and we will get a wireless microphone to you. Start right over there on the left.
Steve Post, Motor Racing Network. Tyler, we're 3 races into your Cup Series. You ran a little bit last year, but what would you say at this point have been some of is there a thing that you didn't see coming? Is the biggest adjustment, the biggest change? What are some of the things that you've had to get your arms around now as a full-blown week in and week out Cup Series driver?
So far on the, with the drag ducts and where the cars are at, whether it was Daytona, Las Vegas or Fontana, it's just finding the happy medium between, outright speed in the car, even at Daytona and places like that, or just the handling that comes into play, and trying to figure out what that is and what the happy medium is, I guess, going into the race has been the biggest challenge, because you really don't know where you're at until the green flag drops, essentially. So, the 88 was really good from the drop of the hat of practice on Friday at Fontana, and that carried over into the race for sure. But for me, it's just been trying to figure out where me and my crew chief, Randall Burnett, want to be with our race car. That's probably been the biggest challenge. On top of that, just navigating and being the most efficient that we can on pit road's probably been the second biggest challenge. But pit road's been getting easier. It's, a couple races in, but understanding how important it is, the in and outs. Getting some practice down pit road's been very important to make that as efficient as possible. But just trying to figure out where you want to be on Sunday, I guess, with your race car, because it's kind of a guessing game at most of these tracks. This race this weekend here will be a lot more straightforward, like I'm used to from the trucks and Xfinity side.
Additional questions for Tyler? Come up here to Pat.
Pat DeCola, NASCAR.com. The speed that you guys have shown so far, did you expect that, or does it kind of surprise, or does it just speak to the amount of work that you guys put in over the off season?
I think we've always been able to make our cars better in the race. That's whether that's characteristic of RCR or me and Randall or both. I'm not really sure, but we're always able to make our cars better for the most part. And Fontana wasn't a huge game from start to finish, but we were able to move up through the positions and have really good restarts and able to gain track position that way. So, yeah, I'd say it's going pretty well so far. I was really hoping we could have cracked the top 10 at Fontana, with our strategy, call it Vegas. I think, unfortunately, if we would have started 6th or 4th on that restart, we probably could have came out 3rd, 4th, or 5th. Just 5th is a really hard place to restart at a lot of these mile-and-a-half racetracks. So we've had some really good, potential finishes, but our runs have been okay. We're trying to make our cars better. This will be a big tell of where we stack up and where I stack up, especially as a short track driver compared to these guys that are really good at this. It's a website, and you can go on the website iamsecond.com, and they have a lot of videos where people sit down in the white chairs, they call it, and kind of reflect and get perspective of how they've came to putting themselves second and bringing how Jesus come into their life, or how their religion has changed them for the better, and they just talk. There's a lot of different scenarios. Every sit down, every interview is different, but they talk about their experiences and the challenges they go through life and how God helps them get through it. And a lot of times when they have those sit downs, it's stuff when they were growing up, or stuff they went through as their teenage years, or stuff that was more recently just tough, tragic events. So every story is different, but if you go to iamsecond.com, you can learn a lot more about it.
Stay there in the back and then go to Wolfgang.
Rich Colbert at the Motor Racing Network. You touched on it just a moment ago. I got a couple of questions here, but first of all, at what point of the season do you feel like you've got a handle on what's going on? When can you assess where you are with your team?
I say once this West Coast swings over, we'll have a pretty good idea. Granted, we had the Super Speedway to start the year. We had 2, intermediate style tracks, and then we'll have they call it a short track, but it's not. But, it's our short track package that we now have for this year. So I'd say after this swing is over, we'll have a fairly good idea where we're at, what we need to work on, already had a pretty good idea after Fontana what we need to do going into Atlanta and Homestead, and this will kind of set us up and tell us what we need to do when we come back here in November. But more importantly, where I stack up and where we stack up working together as a team after this race Sunday.
And looking to Atlanta, I mean, what's your experience with that track, and how confident do you feel as you head to that 1.5 miles?
I have some confidence in a way, but these cars drive so different on these 1.5 mile racetracks that everything that I'm able to do there to make my races go well, I don't know if I will be able to exactly apply the same method or approach. So I guess that's what we're going to find out in practice, is if we're going to be able to do just that. But that's Fontana and Vegas were 2 really important tracks to run good at, and unfortunately Vegas didn't end well, but we were right there. Fontana almost was a good day. We were just a little bit off from being able to be in the top 10, and so we got to take advantage of Atlanta and Homestead and get some really good runs there for sure.
Go to Wolfgang in the back.
Yeah, Wolfgang Monser from Germany Rennsport Press Agency. Your preparation for the races, is this also included work with a simulator?
Yeah, there's some work that you can do there. This West Coast swing, we've been stuck out here, so we had to try and bunch it all in and get it done before we left to come out for this swing. But we have access to the Chevrolet simulator that's really helpful for an event like this, where you really, Randall and I don't really have a notebook, but the team has a notebook from kind of what the cars were in 2018. We have an idea what we're shooting for, but the simulator at least gives you something to go off of, because without that you'd be going into the weekend blind, and that's tough for anybody, whether that's truck, Xfinity, or most importantly on the Cup side with a lot of other good teams and drivers. So it's been a big benefit trying to help us prepare for this race.
Going to go back to Steve.
Steve Post, Motor Racing Network. Tyler, level of competition is the question. We always talk about the jump from Xfinity to Cup is a significant jump. What have you noticed about the depth of the competition, or have you noticed anything different about it, and just the degree of that jump thus far early in your career?
That's a huge jump. I feel like what would have been battling for top 2, 3 and Xfinity side is what you're dealing with when you're trying to battle just to get inside the top 15. So a lot of good drivers. It's pretty crazy. You have a lot of guys that are very successful that you're racing around, and a lot of the day I remember being around Truex, a lot of the Gibbs cars, some of those other guys, Joey. I mean, it's just tough, it's just part of it, but it's been a lot of fun. That makes the racing fun. It's really cool to race against those guys, but still, even the guys like those, like them, they have bad days, and we just got to try and capitalize on it and make the most out of those days and try and get good finishes. So yeah, you're gonna probably outrun some really good cars on days even when you aren't running that good yourself. That just goes to show how tough it is.
Any final questions for Tyler? All right, Tyler, thanks for joining us. Good luck this weekend.